Hi, it's Kristen, and I am going to destroy my bookshelves. And by that, I mean take everything off my bookshelves, clean them, decide if I want to keep all the books I have, which I don't, and then completely reorganise it. So there are a few reasons I'm doing this. One is that my sister recently moved out, so her old bedroom is now like a spare room, and we are using it for storage mostly. My bedroom is really small, and I couldn't be bothered to move all my stuff into her room to just have a different room, so I thought I could at least move some of my things that I don't always need around into that room, just to have a bit more space in this room. And one of the main things that takes up room in my room are my books. So I'm going to move some of that stuff, mainly my TBR, this is just my TBR, into her room. And then if there's any books I don't want to keep anymore, I can put them into her room until I'm able to like take them to a charity shop or anything, just so they're not taking up space on my shelf. Another reason is because my bookshelves, I'm just like not super happy with them. I look at them and there's books on there that I haven't ever reread, that I haven't read in years, that I don't feel connected to, so I'm either gonna get rid of them or possibly reread them to see if I still want them. And I thought that would be easy to do if I just took everything off my shelf and was able to go from like a blank slate. And thirdly, I would like to move myself this year, hopefully, if possible. And looking at my bookshelf, how it currently is, just instills a sense of dread in me. I have so many books. Like I said, this is just my TBR, and then my bookshelf is over there. And I have so many books that the thought of packing them and moving them and then unpacking them just worries me. And I don't want to do it. And I might not be moving anytime soon, but that gives me time to get rid of things, reread things to see if I still want them. So I'm giving myself time before having to move out to do that. I also recently sorted out other bits of my room, just like random bits of shelving and stuff, and then I did a massive sort out of my clothes. I like completely emptied my chest of drawers and my wardrobe, and my bed has got like drawers in it where I keep most of my clothes, so I took everything out and sorted through it, and that has really given me like an urge now to sort out the rest of my life. So the bookshelves are next. Yeah, I think I've reached a point in my life where I don't need as much stuff, or I always felt like I needed to hold on to things, and especially if I spent money on it, then I wanted to hold on to it. I'm just at the point in my life where, yeah, thinking about stuff like moving and living on my own or with a friend is making me reassess all the things I own, if I need them, if I want them, and also just not that I can't love things that I loved as a child, obviously, but a lot of my book collection is from when I was a teenager, and I'm gonna be 26 this year. So I'm just at an entirely different point in my life. I don't know if it's the pandemic that's making me reassess things, or just because a lot of people around me have had big life changes, like moving or planning to move and like changing jobs and things, that it's making me reassess where I'm at. But I'm feeling positive, even with everything going on, and just the world generally being quite shit at the moment. I'm trying to make plans and feel optimistic about those plans. Anyway, let's sort out this bookshelf before I get too fucking existential. This wasn't what the purpose of this video was. So you're getting a slight bit more of a glimpse into my room, but like this is literally it. That's it. It's small. Anyway, this is my TBR pile. Piles, multiple piles, which I have on top of this small cube shelf. Ideally, I don't want these books to be here because it means that I can't put anything on top of this shelf. And because I couldn't put anything there, I started dumping stuff on my main bookshelf, like random bits of paper for work and stuff ended up going on here, when maybe I would probably put it on there. So yesterday I started sorting things out. I took off a lot of like my knickknacks and various like little decorations, like I had some flowers, fake flowers on here, and little trinkets I've got from when I've been on holiday or that people have given me. I took that stuff off, put it all in a box, put it in the other room for now. But I still need to get rid of some stuff, or not get rid, move. Obviously my camera is here, and like notebooks and random stuff, money pots, and just bits and bobs. So I need to move them first so that then I can move all my books, and then I can tidy my shelves, give them like a proper wipe down, all that good stuff. Just want everything to be clean. I just pulled like random bits off notebooks and things, and on the bottom shelf I knew that I had a couple of candle holders down there, and then also found 2 bottles of vodka, because I think for lack of room in the kitchen for them, I just put them on the bottom shelf of my bookshelf. So 2 full bottles of vodka. They don't need to be on my bookshelf. Let's just put those down for the moment and find somewhere else for them that's not a bookshelf. I'm not mad at the vibe, but it's not really what I'm going for. So, having moved all my books off my shelves, I've wiped down my little cube shelf. I'm really out of breath. I think it's because there's so much dust flying around. I feel like I'm really sniffly now, and also I feel like I need my inhaler. Anyway, what I think I'm going to do is wipe down this shelf, the big bookshelf, and then sort through all the random crap that was on here, like notebooks, headphones, candle holders, vodka, and try and find other places in my room to put them. We'll see if that happens, for lack of space. So I'm gonna clean my shelf, find places to put those, and then I think I'm going to be done for today. This didn't take me long at all, but we're heading into the evening now. I'm already quite sniffly. I think breaking it down into chunks is easier, so like cleaning and sorting random stuff today, and then tomorrow I can dedicate just to sorting through my books, because I don't want to get started on sorting through my books tonight because I know it's going to take me a long time. I don't want to get started on it and then have to stop to go to bed and everything, and then have to go back to it in the morning. So I think if I just start my books tomorrow, I'm happy to like spend the whole day doing that, and get it done in one go, because I also think if I get into it, I don't want to stop and potentially like lose momentum. So yeah, cleaning, sorting random stuff tonight, and then sorting books tomorrow. I'm thinking of breaking down my books into 3 categories: definitely keeping, definitely getting rid of, and then books that I'm not quite sure about, but maybe I'll reread them to get rid of them. Because I thought if I put them in those 3 categories, then I'll get the definitely keeps and definitely get rid of piles going, and then I can just have that middle pile to come back to potentially at another time if I need to, rather than coming across a book, not being sure about it, and then spending like 5 minutes just debating that book. I can just put it in a pile to come back to at the end. So definitely keep, definitely get rid, and then maybe / possible reread / come back to it at the end to decide. That may sound silly to you, and not a good system, but I think that's the system that will work for me in the current mental state that I'm in. That's the plan. I'm going to clean this now. Good morning. It's the next day from the clips you saw just now. My bookshelf is empty, apart from the book I'm currently reading. And the other room is full of books, so it is time to sort them out. So these are almost all of my books. Ignore the bags of clothes, they need to be recycled. But yes, these are pretty much all my books. There are some books of mine that are in other rooms in the house, like in the dining room, and there's some in my parents' room, which I think we're going to move into this room for storage. And they're like childhood books that we want to keep for the memories, but also I think possibly my parents are thinking if me or my siblings have kids, we could use them, stuff like that. And there's also some of my books in storage in my dad's workplace. Has like a upstairs bit that he uses to store his like work stuff that he doesn't need all the time, like exercise equipment. And when I moved back from university, obviously I had lots of stuff, just like household things that I did not have room for at all here, and that we also didn't need here because it was like kitchen stuff. We also already have kitchen stuff. It was just because I was moving out on my own for the first time. So I put all that in storage up there as well, and put some books with it. And they were books, I think they're mostly like books that were to do with the things I was studying. So I know that I have a couple of books that are like scripts and librettos and things like that, which I don't necessarily want on my bookshelves at this point in time. So they're staying there. I sort of need to do a sort out of them at some point as well. But this is everything that I had on my bookshelf and on my cube shelf, the TBR stacks. So I need to sort through this and decide what I want. I think I said yesterday I'm breaking it into 3 categories: definitely keep, definitely get rid of, and I maybe want to reread to see if I still want. So let's do that and see how long it takes. I can't really get a good camera angle in here because there's so much stuff on the floor, so we're gonna have to deal with it. So I might not film a ton in the initial process of sorting through things until I've made some room, and then hopefully I can set the camera up somewhere with decent lighting and where it won't fall over, so we'll see. I've got a cup of tea, I've got a big cup of water, I'm settled in, so let's sort through some books. So I've done a first general sweep through, going on like my gut instincts, my gut feelings about books. I don't know that I've made much progress with anything, but here's what I've got and what my thinking is. So this stuff down here up to here is stuff I definitely want to keep. So that includes like my Meg Cabot books. My childhood was defined by Meg Cabot. The series of Unfortunate Events series, all my Jane Austen, that kind of stuff. Then here is all the books I haven't read, my TBR piles, which I think I'm going to put, instead of going back on the cube shelf and taking up room, I'm going to put on this shelf that my sister didn't want left behind. So I'm going to put that on there. Then this pile here, or these piles, are books that I'm not sure if I want anymore, and I'm going to go through them again in a minute more thoroughly. I think I'm going to want to reread some to see if I want to keep them, because there's some books like this that I got given when I was younger and I read when I was like a teenager, but I think I might appreciate more as an adult. And then there's some books like these, all my John Green ones, which I really liked as a teenager, but I think maybe haven't aged well, or that I just wouldn't love as much now, and I don't have as much of a like emotional connection to as I do with like some of these books from like when I was young. And then we've got this pile here, which I'm definitely getting rid of. It's like 5 books, but some of these could end up in that pile. And then the ones that I'm going to decide that I definitely want to reread, I think I'm just going to put on the TBR shelf and like add them back into my TBR, even though I've read them before, treat them as if they're not a staple book on my bookshelf, but they're actually part of my TBR. Because there's some of them that I can't really actually like remember the plot of. Like, I remember reading this one, but I can't remember what happens in it. I remember reading this one, I can't remember what happens in it. These ones I'm not sure about. I have 2 copies of Wuthering Heights and I'm not sure which one I want to keep. If I want to keep both of them, I'm definitely keeping one, but I'm just not sure. Yeah, these are all ones that I feel like I need to reassess and possibly reread. So that's where I'm at. I think actually the way I'm going to organise this TBR shelf, like as we go down the shelf, we're going to go down in maybe like how much I want to read them or how soon I think I'm going to get to them. I have a couple of like video projects that I have in mind, so the ones that I'm more likely to read first because of want or necessity or project idea, I'm going to go on this top shelf, and then like next down and the very bottom shelf are going to be the ones that I'm not sure when I'm going to get to. Pretty much everything on my TBR I do still want to read. There's 1, maybe 2 books that I'm going to get rid of. My problem with getting rid of TBR books is like I've not read them and it feels like a waste of money. In certain aspects, like if the author's massively problematic, then I don't want to support that author by reading their work. But if it's just because I've like lessened my interest, then that's on me for not reading the book sooner when I was more interested in it. And then that is just a waste. So then I just get pissed off at myself. So I need to have a think. There's a window up here. It's very bright. Not the best place, but yeah. I'm conflicted about some of these books. And I put my TBR on the shelf, somewhat categorised, but they wouldn't all fit. So I've got a stack here. But I do have, well, we do have, my family, this is terrible lighting, has this chest of drawers, which is empty. So I wonder, because I also have the books I want to reread, which aren't on that shelf because obviously they wouldn't fit, stacked in this room. I'm wondering if I put them in the chest of drawers, just so they're not taking up floor space. And then I could categorise them within the chest of drawers for like, you know, contemporary historical fiction. So I know that like top drawer's contemporary. If I'm in the mood to reread a contemporary, I can go to the top drawer. Is that stupid? Just because I'm thinking otherwise they're gonna cram the floor for ages until I reread them and either get rid of them or put them back on my main bookshelf. I'm gonna go ask my mum if that's stupid. I didn't explain my reasoning to her, and I think if she doesn't tell me I'm ridiculous, that's what I'm gonna do. So my mum laughed at me, but did say that it made sense in a way to keep them off the floor, to put them in the drawers. She does want to use the drawers for towels and things, so I'm going to try and put as many as I can in like the bottom 2 drawers. Again, I don't think they're all going to fit, but if some of them have to live on the floor for a little while, I will just try to shove them in the corner. eventually these shelves behind me are my sister's books, which she hasn't yet moved to her place because she doesn't have any shelving. So eventually these shelves will be empty, so then I'll be able to move the books out of the chest of drawers or off the floor and onto shelves, which will be good. Which would be better. But in the meantime, I'm going to categorize the want to reread, give them a bit of a dusting, put them in the chest of drawers, and then do the same for my definitely keeping and put them back on my bookshelf. Let's be productive. I've got another cup of tea ready to go. We've got Thor with us this time. Let's do it. So I have 2 graphic novels and a picture book. Do I keep them in like their own category? Because there's only 3 things. Or do I put them in like the other categories I've done? Like Mouse would be like historical fiction, and then my Walking Dead compendium would go with like my other supernatural zombie kind of books. I don't know. But then what do I do with this? This is one of my favourite Christmas presents I've ever received. My sister got it for me a couple of years ago, and it's just the story of Die Hard, because I love Die Hard, but told with like illustrations and everything in the rhyme of 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. It's so funny. But it is essentially a picture book. Where does that go? Let me show you my categories so far. These are all the ones I'm definitely keeping. These, my series of unfortunate events and my Game of Thrones, there's one missing because it's on my TBR, are just going to go on top of my bookshelf because they're like proper like box sets. Then I've got Light-Hearted Contemporary. That's not light-hearted, that. Light-Hearted Contemporary, Hard-Hitting Contemporary. These are like contemporary but have like a twist, like an alternate world or some like small elements of magic. These are also Light-Hearted Contemporary, so they need to be over there. This is my fantasy pile. This is non-fiction. This is like sci-fi. There's 2 books there. Poetry, romance. I want to build up this collection. This is historical fiction. I'm not sure about this one being there because it's like an alternate telling of a Bible story. But I'm putting it in historical dubiously, that one. Those are my plays. Those are like paranormal, supernatural. These are thrillers and horror, I guess. And then these are classics. So those are how I've broken everything down. I don't know how it's all going to go on the shelf though. I think I might have to stack books. The way I used to have my shelves arranged was alphabetically by author's last name, and then if I had more than one book by an author, it would be by publication date. So for example, like my John Green books would go like Looking for Alaska, An Abundance for Catherine's, Paper Towns, either whichever way those goes round, and then The Fault in Our Stars. And then
if I had an author, like more than one author with the same last name, it would go alphabetically by their first name. So like Anne Bronte, Charlotte Bronte, Emily Bronte, and then again by publication date. But I've decided to do it by genre because I've had my books by author's last name for absolutely years, and I just wanted something different. But doing it by genre is difficult because there are some books that are like in between genres. So I might just have to have like a miscellaneous section. So I just started to move books back into my room. I started with my Series of Unfortunate Events box set, which I put up there. And normally next to it I put my Game of Thrones box set. But this box, it's not like a special box, it's not really beautifully decorated. And it's falling apart. I'll show you, hold on. So like this bit has just completely come off. It's ripping down the back. The bottom of it is ripping as well. So I'm sort of thinking like it doesn't add anything. And also when the next book eventually comes out, it wouldn't fit in the box anyway. So I'm sort of thinking I just take them out of the box. But then I'd want to put them on my shelf. So I'd lose the room up the top. But then up top I could put stuff that was on my cube shelf. I need to make a decision off camera because I could be here forever. I did take them out of the box and then I immediately changed my mind. When I decided to put them on my shelf, and I put this up the top where they used to go. It was my grand's, and I put it there because I thought it's right above what I'm making the fantasy shelf. It is a unicorn, but the horn broke off, so it just looks like a horse now. I removed the other two books that I've yet to read. I took A Feast for Crows off, and I was always just going to do, I'll take off the next book that I need to read. But I thought, well, they're all to be read, so I put them on my to read pile. And for the time being, I'm going to put this Game of Thrones mug there to fill the space. For lack of anywhere else to put it, just for the moment, and then I'll sort out eventually when I read the next books what to do with it. So that's my start. I've dragged out my bookshelf reorganisation to a third day. I had stuff to do yesterday afternoon and this morning, so knowing myself, I thought it's highly likely when putting books back on my shelf I'm going to be fussy and not happy with how I do things. I want to try things out, move things around quite a bit. So I didn't think there was any point in starting to do it yesterday because I had other stuff to do, so I'd have to stop my bookshelf and do that thing, and then I wouldn't be able to return to it until now. So I just waited until this afternoon. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to film it because, like I said, the actual act of putting them all back on the bookshelf, I think I'm going to change my mind on how I want things. I'm, yeah, going to try out different things, and I don't think that's going to be necessarily interesting to watch. So I will do that now off camera, and then once everything is in its place and I'm actually happy with it, I'm going to show you essentially what I've done with all my books. I'm done for the most part. I'm sure I'll rejig some things, but I'm happy with how things are now. So in the spare room on this little bookshelf, you've got my TBR. These are like the next books I have to read. These are all my unread books, including these which didn't fit on the shelf. These are ones that I want to reread that didn't fit in here. So you've got these that I want to reread to see if I still want. And these. And here we have my bedroom bookshelf, my Serial of Watch Events box set. These ones I used sort of to raise that up. These are all like awkward sized hardcovers. So I've got those. Then under here, I thought to tie in with the broken unicorn, I've got fantasy books, so Game of Thrones, and these are all parts of a series, and there's a little bit of room for when I have the second one of this, so then I can put that there. Obviously I need to rejig that as I potentially get more in the series, and then these are standalone ones. These two sort of go together because they're both Neil Gaiman, and then Princess Bride. Then I've got my classics, so I've got my Austen all together and my Bronte, and then Frankenstein, Lord of the Flies. This is where we get more tenuous. This is historical romance to historical, and I included Aristotle and Dante because it's set in the 80s, I think. Then this is like my YA contemporary, going along to slightly more, as we go down, hard-hitting YA contemporary. And down here we have my two sort of more adult contemporary, into the like slight slant on contemporary, so like alternate world, potential bit of magic, into sci-fi, into horror thrillers, and then these are like supernatural, paranormal kind of stuff. And then down at the bottom, not very good lighting, these are non-fiction. Those ones are about the war. That's the travel one. That's like sex and sexuality, feminism, and then my two graphic novels. Those next to it are like essays about feminism and creativity, and then we've got my plays and poetry. Like I said, I think I might rejig things over the coming weeks, see how I feel about things. Obviously I have some gaps, but that's fine because as I read books to see if I want to keep them, they'll be able to fill the gaps. Or just as I read ones that are on my TBR, I'll be able to fill some gaps. So that's cool. Yeah, that's what it looks like. So I'm done for now with reorganisation. I know that ultimately this isn't maybe the most practical in terms of my books are now all scattered around, but for space purposes, I think this is currently the most practical thing I could do to utilise my bedroom and the spare room. Obviously I'm really lucky that my sister moved out and that my parents let me use that room to store my things. I am seeing this like as a stepping stone to moving out, so yeah, I think this is going to make me reassess the books I own even more. It's going to, I think, push me to reread books because I would like to reread more. And just doing this and like spending these past few days with my books, in like as ridiculous and cheesy as that sounds, has got me like excited about my collection again, and wanting to read more, to add books to my shelf and take them off and just, yeah. So that is my bookshelf reorganisation done for now, and eventually when I move I'm sure I will film that process
for more bookish content. But yes, this is probably a really long video, so I'm gonna leave it here. I know that I personally enjoy watching bookshelf reorganisation, decluttering videos, so I hope that you enjoyed this one, and I will see you soon with another video soon. Bye!